Your piano's called Beauty, but it seemed like you're trying to go beast mode on my guy.
Yeah. Man, always. I like how you did that right
Yeah, I like that.
We all suck.
Yeah.
I like that. Everybody sucks at golf.
Are you 5-star, 4-star?
I was 5-star, baby.
I didn't know why I asked you.
Come
man.
on. That last fight. They're like cigarette addicts with this stuff.
Dropping gems, sports culture, entertainment from a broader lens. This where it all begins, and we'll be talking that on or off the track. The whole crew ready, it's time to drop the jack.
All right, world, welcome back. We're Drop the Jack. I'm Paul Swan. I got my guys here with me. Darrell Edwards. We got Michael Hicks. We got the big man, Juice Jordan Page at the end. And we regret to inform you that Mamba is offset today. He is on a mission somewhere else, so we're going to miss him today. But we got a Carolina royalty here in the building, kind of replacing him in his spot maybe, but big-time guest on the show today. Let's start from the beginning. He was a high school Gatorade Player of the Year in Washington. He hails from the state of Washington. He went to Oregon, played there for 3 years for the Ducks, dominated, balled out, ran all over everybody. Then he was a first-round draft pick in Carolina. I think it was the 13th pick.
Oh, yeah.
13th pick. Is the all-time leading rusher of the Carolina Panthers. That's a big, big honor to be the all-time leading rusher of an NFL football team.
Big time.
But not only is he an athlete, he's got a lot of depth to him too, I'd say. They call him the Piano Man, we hear. He even has a name for his piano called, what is it, Beauty? Beauty. He has a TV show with his wife, Natalie, that highlights Charlotte, the cuisine, the people, everything. So that's a pretty cool deal. And he also has a big-time love for golf. Trying to be he's an aspiring scratch golfer. So this guy, there's a lot to this guy, and we're excited to have him on the show today.
Well, let's give it up one time for Jonathan Stewart, man.
Well, Paul Swan, that was a brilliant introduction.
Hope it does you justice.
Man, that was wonderful. It was one of the best that's ever been done.
Well, I appreciate
Thanks
that.
for
I'll
having
drink
me.
to that.
Yeah, I'll drink to that.
Thanks for being here.
A little coffee.
And asking me to come out my shoes.
Yeah, man. Show the people your shoes.
Nah, man, because nobody else gonna ask me to come out my shoes. I ain't showing them.
Man, he got these lime green New Balances, and they're
Match
running.
the shirt.
Take one off and put it up, Jordan.
Match the shirt.
And I mean, he's a detailed
Things off.
he's a detailed guy.
That's what he asked me for, people.
Yeah, I'm trying. Would you ask somebody to come up out there?
Hey, he wasn't asking.
I would. You didn't ask him, you told him.
It
He already
sounded
got
like
one
a
shoe
demand.
off. You know what I'm saying? He already got one shoe off.
I
He put
feel
that
like
back.
you remind me what it is. You remind me of one of my childhood friends, Jameson, and he was actually older than me. He was one of my brother's best friends, and he had always come to the house, always in the neighborhood, and he always pick on me. And so when I see you, I feel like I got to just
Got to bully up.
gotta give it back.
Got to show him.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm going through a trigger right now.
No doubt.
Man, we friends. He gonna get my cornbread, but we friends.
Your piano's called Beauty, but it seemed like you're trying to go beast mode on my guy.
Yeah, always. I like how you did that right
Yeah, I like that.
It's so early. And you dropping bars like that, just bombs on people.
No doubt, man. Well, we're glad to have you on the show, man. It's an honor, honestly, man.
Thanks for having me.
With who you are and everything you've done for Carolina. Obviously, we know you're from out west, Washington. You're a Gatorade Player of the Year. But tell us a little bit about your story and how you got from Washington all the way to the Panthers?
Yeah, man. Born and raised in Washington State. My dad was in the military. All my family's from Georgia originally. And so my dad was in the military. And so with that, there's a lot of moving going on, right? So born in Washington, moved to Hawaii, moved to California, moved back to Washington, all in the span of 4 years probably. My parents split when I was in 4th grade. And my mom, dated a guy named James Parker. And he became my father figure growing up. And so to have him a part of my life really kind of gave me structure in the sense of, being a kid in 4th grade, growing up and watching wrestling, right? Got all this aggression, like I'm just a physical kid jumping off the
Who's your
couch.
favorite wrestler?
Yeah.
Sting.
Thing. I love
So you're a WCW guy.
Yeah, WCW.
You didn't
Sting was tough.
What
I like
WWF?
Sting.
Come on, that Attitude Era.
Yeah.
You give me more Booker T vibes.
Booker T, but like the way Sting kind of came in,
Mysterious.
low key,
Yeah.
like, hey,
Black and
like,
white.
I'm not really here to beat you up, but if I have to, I got the bat.
Yeah.
I'll mess you up.
You hear that, Juice, right?
I heard it. I heard it.
But it was, opportunity for me to just, I look at God just, placing, people in my life throughout my journey, throughout my childhood, and the ability to be able to see those types of people and, maximize my relationship, like with JP, James Parker, connecting with PE teachers in middle school. Connecting with, my favorite teacher in high school was Mr. Bush. He was our basketball coach, but he always poured into me because he saw something in me. My football coach, Mark Rubidoux, was our linebacker, special teams, and strength and conditioning coach. Having people like that and men in my life, even though my physical dad was absent at the time, I still was able to recognize these adults that saw something in me. And I credit that to my relationship with God. And obviously having my mom as a backbone, and understanding that just because you're lacking something doesn't mean that it's a lack thereof, being suitable, right? So I'm not, just because I don't have my physical father there, doesn't mean that God can't provide, those tools and those bonds and opportunities to grow into a young man.
So you feel like God still provided you the guidance that you needed, even if it wasn't from your actual father?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and and I think without having so much chatter and so much confusion, or what's the word I'm looking for? Just the noise, right? Distractions is what I was looking for. Distractions. And being able to focus on school, friendships, God, family, keeping it simple allows you to narrow in on what God is actually showing you. Even at an early age, I really credit my walk with God. I was a youth, I was a youth leader at our church, so always inviting kids to church and my peers and everybody, just understanding through high school and having these men around me. Like, one of the things that my football coach always told me was, you got 4 years for the rest of your life. He told me that my freshman year. And it was basically like, hey, just focus. Don't mess this up. Like, if you just take every day, every week as it is for the next 4 years, you're going to be okay because you got it. Like, and I'll always remember that. I'll always kind of have that in the back of my mind when I'm, attacking a goal or having, things that I want to do or achieve. That ability to focus is the only thing that's going to get you over that hump.
So that's something you knew at an early age, like when these people in your life and God, or is it something like you look back now, older, going, wow?
Yeah, it's God's grace.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it ain't really my doing, but it definitely is a choice that you have to make every single day. And it's gonna be a roller coaster. It's been a roller coaster ride. Don't get me wrong.
That's life, man.
That's life.
That's life.
But like, I couldn't imagine doing life without a relationship with God. Yeah. And it's too much pressure. It's too much going on. Life is already too serious for us to just be doing it alone.
Facts.
And having something to ground you and to rest assure that just because things are moving so fast or things aren't going your way doesn't mean that you got to take it all on your own. Yeah. And if you look to God, God will point you to people, and those people will help you along the way.
And Jonathan, I can absolutely relate to that. when I was in college, coming up playing basketball. But when I went to junior college, so I did 2 years of junior college, and I went to a Division I program, High Point University, right up the road. When I got to college, the Division I level, everybody was good. But prior to that, I felt like I was really good. I was the man, so on and so forth. And when I got to High Point, the ball wasn't going in the basket the same. Like I wasn't the man no more. Everybody was so good. And that's kind of how I found God, because there was times where I would go back to the dorm room and I was like, why is this happening? Like, what's going on? Like, this is what I do. You know, I play basketball. I'm really good at it, so on and so forth. And that's kind of when I found God, because up until that point, I was trying to do it on my own. I thought I could do it on my own. I thought I could score all these points and eventually make it to the league. You know, 'cause it was always a dream of mine. But definitely got woken up quick and just had to rely on God and say, you know, what's next? You know, did I use basketball up as a tool to get to where I needed to be because my parents couldn't afford college for me? And I just had to really come to realization with it, and God helped me along the way to get to like where I'm at today. So I can definitely relate to
Yeah,
that.
dude. You know, it's it's moments in life where you really, especially the older you get, you look back and you're just like, man, like God was there the whole time.
Yeah.
And like, there's moments where, for myself, you know, in high school, like I high school with cats that got locked up, you know, you know, hanging with the wrong crowds, you know, just got, you know, lost motivation. And when you look back and you say, man, how did I maneuver around that? Or how was that not me?
Yep.
Right? Because it could have easily been any of us, right? Like just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, having the wrong people speaking into you. And, you know, if you are surrounding yourself with the right individuals and you're looking up to the right individuals, I mean, that's why I say you can't do this life by yourself.
Yeah.
And especially as a young boy, you can get pulled in so many directions, especially as you're growing and you're going through a stage of development. You know, your testosterone and all that stuff's coming in.
Rise.
Yeah. And so you're just like, man, how do I manage all this that's happening? How do I talk to?
Well, how did you manage it? Like, you know, were there certain mentors you talked about, guys that were in your life? Who did you go to? Because did you master it off the jump, or did you
No,
have to lean on
I
somebody?
feel like if you mastered it, let me know.
For sure,
If you, yeah, let me know and write a book about it.
for sure.
Because I don't think anyone can master it. And I don't think God designed us to master it, because he designed us to need him, right? And so, but like in high school, man, I'd say my senior year, some things happened with my family that really shook me. And I made a decision to go basically handle it, and was waiting at this person's house about 3 hours, and they never came home. That's God.
100%.
And then and just to kind of put this in perspective as far as people in your life, I left there and I went to my best friend's house, and his pops was there. Again, another guy in my life that I looked at as a father figure, right? My best friend's pops. And they let me stay the night, right? And my prayer that night was, God, get this feeling out of my body. Like, let it go. I don't want it, right? And literally the next day, I woke up and my heart was clean. I was free of whatever I was being, you know, held down by.
Well, it sounds like God was right with you, man.
Oh, yeah, like
because a 1-second decision could
Could've
change your
changed
whole
my
life. And you know, sitting here today, it could be a different narrative.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
about Jonathan Stewart.
Yeah.
And did you lean on anybody about your recruiting process, or how you?
Yeah, so my youth pastor from back home, he's like my brother, dad, friend. Like he spits all the game and knowledge into my life. Like I really accredit him for a guy that like just, you got people in your life that is like a safe, right? A safe place, but also a safe. It's like the key locks it, right? And I think having him, it was huge because he helped me through the recruiting process. Like I'm getting recruited from Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, Notre Dame, Alabama, Texas, like all these schools
Big time.
on the East Coast, and then obviously all the schools on the West Coast. And at that time, Scout and Rivals.com.
Yeah.
That was like
Were you 5-star, 4-star?
I was 5-star, baby.
Whoa.
I don't even know why I asked you.
Come on.
I don't even know why I
That's
asked.
the player of the year in Washington.
I think
about
I
to
was
say.
about like top 2
Wow.
player in the
Who was number
nation.
1? Do you remember?
You got it.
Tony Baker. He went to NC State.
Did he go off and have a better career than you?
Nah.
I've never heard of
I'm
him.
gonna say,
And
I'm
there
about
was a
to
guy
say,
named Marlon Lucky. Deshaun Jackson was in my class.
Okay.
Ryan Perilou.
Yeah. It's a big
I
class.
think Brian Cushing. Ray Maluga.
Yeah. What year did you come out of high school?
05.
Okay.
Yeah, 2005. Played in the Army All-American game. But how I made my decision, man, that's a story in itself. Fast forward through high school, had a decorated, high school career. Had a really good group of friends that I just maintained and, stayed out of trouble. One of the things that I credit, like just you have to be doing different things to get to different places, right? Like in high school, I was going to work out at 11 o'clock at night at the gym with bodybuilders, right? So, and while everybody else is at bonfires, having, parties on the weekends or whatever, right? Meetups. But fast forward to college, man, how I made my decision was prayer. Legit. God showed me a sign, right? And
Great song.
yeah, it's
I can,
Great
see,
song.
Yeah.
I can see you on the piano now.
Lord,
give me a
sign.
Yeah, man.
But so me and my pops, before my parents got split up in 4th grade, or after they split up, 4th grade, my dad's driving me while I'm in 7th grade, to a football camp or a football tournament in Las Vegas. So we're driving down the interstate, go past Oregon, into California, into Nevada. And on the way, like there was this cross that's like shining at night. And we drove at night. My dad's in the military. He's like, yeah, we're going to get up early in the morning and we're going to make sure we get on the road so we get there on time. And that's it.
500
Oh, yeah.
road.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, whatever, Dad, you're gonna be driving. And so, but driving down the interstate, just imagine yourself at night and you like driving in the interstate and there's like hills, mountains, country vibe, Oregon, and there's this cross, like that's on this hill, lit up at night, right? And so that happened in 7th grade. Totally forgot about it though until I'm leaving Oregon. Fast forward, my senior year, leaving my visit. My mom, we were there on my visit for. Usually, you're there for like 2 days, 2.5 days, get the whole experience and whatnot.
How was your experience? Like
It was.
I went on a couple visits. So
It was cool.
curious,
It
like,
was
feel the
cool,
fish
man.
in
Like
it.
they made a comic book for me. Like a hero was born.
no parties. The guys ain't take you in
Like-
parties.
like going-
I got dragged to
In
parties.
high school, I wasn't
Got dragged to
necessarily
parties?
Dragged.
Dragged.
Yeah, I wasn't
Okay.
necessarily a party guy, right? Like high school going into college. And so that wasn't something that they introduced me to. A story I have for USC, they took me to a party and I was like, nah, this ain't
This
me.
is a visit.
Yeah, on a visit.
Okay.
I'm sure the USC parties
about
were.
to say,
Yeah, it was,
You
they
out
were
in
different.
Cali?
It was crazy.
I would have thought they took it.
that's back when
Lawrence
they were
Jackson played defensive end. for USC, and he was my host. And Lindell, Bush were there.
Lindell White.
Yeah,
You know there were some people at that party.
yeah, it was. But I was like, he's like, hey, you want to stay? I was like, yeah, I want to leave. So I left. And just the whole vibe of the trip, it was cool for USC, but it just wasn't my cup of tea.
Wasn't your jam.
But the trip to Oregon was cool. Like, it wasn't anything crazy, right? In my perspective. But leaving that trip, me and my mom are in the car and she's praying in the passenger seat. And as she's done praying, I look in the mirror, the river mirror, and the sun's beaming, right? You know that moment where you're driving and it's like, oh, that sun's in my eye, you try to adjust the mirror. I adjust the mirror and boom, that cross is right there beaming with the sun. And I'm like, oh, that's the same cross that I saw when I drove with my dad to Las Vegas. And so the full circle moment right there was my sign. And I looked at my mom, I said, I feel good about Oregon. And so I made my decision to go to Oregon. 2 weeks later, as you know, when you make a decision, like, dang, did I make the right decision?
Yeah.
Second guessing everything, you know?
But the initial decision was made simply off of just that raw
Just
feeling,
that raw
feeling like
feeling that I saw
completely
the
God.
like
cross.
God speaking to you.
Yeah. That was my prayer.
God is
wild.
gonna lay out. He's gonna lay out your path. It's up to you to see it.
Right. The path is
Yeah,
already
the path
laid
is
out.
already there.
So again, like growing up, bro, I was a different kid, man. Like I messed up here. I messed up a lot as a child, like doing childish things. But as far as like my focus, like it was, if my prayer was my prayer, like I legitimately like looked to that as my source of power, and I still do to this day. And seeing that cross, I was like, man, wow. I got chills. My mom's still praying. She's done praying. I'm like, I'm going to Oregon. And 2 weeks later, I'm going through this this blanket pantry of ours because I'm like, all right, well, I'm about to start sorting through all my childhood stuff, my blankets, toys, whatever, stuffed animals, things that I might want to keep and get rid of. And I'm going through and I take out this Batman blanket and this necklace falls out. It's an Oregon necklace. This Oregon necklace this Oregon football necklace that fell out was a necklace that was a gift that was given to me my freshman year of high school.
Get out of here.
What is it?
I haven't
Bro.
seen this necklace since my freshman year in high school.
Come on.
Bro, that's
And so I'm like,
You got it.
oh yeah, great.
Yeah. All right.
Oregon it is.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oregon it is.
Quack, quack.
Back on the train.
And so, and I want to build this up as far as when you have any doubt, right? Doubt creeps in a lot of ways. I'm bagging groceries in high school. I'm having Washington State fans, UW fans, Eastern Washington fans, every fan but Oregon fans coming through these lines talking about, hey, go Ducks or go Huskies, go Cougars, go Eagles.
Yeah.
Like the pressure of choosing to stay in the home state as a highly touted recruit
Heavy.
was heavy for me. So like as I made my decision, people were like, oh, you're making the wrong decision and all this stuff. But bashing me,
Yeah.
right?
Bashing.
If there was Twitter back then
I'd be over.
or Instagram, boy, there would have been all kind of memes, right? But when I saw that Oregon necklace, bro, I was like,
It's all over.
it's all over.
Yep.
Like I feel good about it.
I love it, man. So what are you doing now? You know, what is your hobbies? I seen you like the golf.
Yeah, golf is life.
What's that? Oh,
Golf is life for this man.
there you go.
Golf is life, man.
I mean,
You good?
I like Top Golf. I'm pretty good at that.
Like points
Whatever you
at
like.
Top Golf.
That's the only thing I'm good at when it comes to that.
Yeah, man.
It's all right, cause I play a little golf. I try to play golf, but I'm horrible at it.
Yeah.
But I also basketball was my natural sport, but I feel like golf is way harder. The individual
hardest
more
sport.
is mental. Like, how does that?
How many clubs have you broken?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot. I suck at golf too. Everybody sucks at golf, in my opinion. If you're not on the PGA Tour, you're not on Live,
Yeah.
you not the top ranked college guys or top ranked high school in the nation or in your state, we all suck.
Yeah. I like that. Everybody sucks at golf.
But you want to know something about golf? Golf to me is all about progress. The one thing that I miss about football is the progress. The one thing that you probably missed in your transition from your athletic days of playing your sport, basketball, football, whatever it is, the thing that you miss is the opportunity to evaluate and self-evaluate. We want to enhance ourselves every day. We want to be better every day.
For sure.
And I think that
looked at it like that.
it's part of who we are.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Like, when you do something and you have that sense of like, man, did I do it right? You want to know if you did it right.
Yeah.
You want validation. And sometimes you can give yourself validation. And the greatest athletes in my mind have their own self-validation by having, a way of understanding who they are, self-awareness, right? Having the self-awareness of, man, this really ain't my best work. Let me go back tomorrow and chop some wood.
So what kind of
Right.
guy was Jonathan Stewart? Was he a validation guy, or did you have the self-validation?
I have the self-validation, and I credit that to my upbringing, because I grew up in a single-parent home, right? And there wasn't, my mom or my dad technically around when I'm doing things really good. Like, oh, I made an omelet today.
Yeah, you.
Nobody,
Nobody's around to tell it, you know what I'm saying? I just figured it out.
Right.
nobody
Right?
said good job.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But my mom, when she was there, did her best, absolutely, you know what I'm saying? But as far as having that constant, like, feeling of, man, you did really good there. Like, I didn't have that. And so growing up, I didn't need it. And it's part a little bit of my personality too, right? And so, like, having not every 7th, 8th grader growing up back in the day was going to hills and running hills, right? Like,
For sure.
that's stuff that you're doing on your own. I didn't have a phone back then to record myself what I was doing. I'm doing it because I want to get up out of my situation, right? And so that was my like, the best motivation is self-motivation. If you can figure out how to get yourself out of bed every day,
Amen.
and do the things necessary to get you to where you want to go, like, that's all you need, man. But yeah,
I could definitely relate to that.
yeah,
Because when I was growing up, I had played with a lot of players who were better than me. So, and I feel like I got better gradually, and I felt like I was playing with kids who was like that good at football right away.
right.
And I felt like I never had people like just telling me good job, because I had 6 other players who were just, lights out. So I had to like instill something in myself
Your own
to like tell myself like, so when I got the compliments, it was like I didn't need it. I didn't need your approval. I didn't need your validation. I had instilled that in myself to be like, I know I can play this game and I know I'm good at it. But I didn't need nobody to, and it made me better. So now it's like, and that keeps me humble as well too, because I remember when people wasn't patting me on the back. I remember when my coaches wasn't saying good job.
Yeah.
So it's like now if I do get those compliments, I don't live and die on those.
Right. You don't want to ever live and die by people's validation
For sure.
or appreciation, right? Like, you just do things out of the goodness of your heart, man. Just be a good person. Put the work in. And everything will pay for itself.
But what else you got going on? I know you coaching a little bit. I heard some middle.
We got
is
an
it football?
all-star
Yeah.
coaching
Yeah,
cast.
I seen
What is it,
that.
8th grade?
Yeah, man. 7th and 8th grade. At
Who are all the
Charlotte Christian.
coaches?
Yeah. So
All-star lineup.
I'm about to say.
All-star lineup.
yeah. So Chris is Greg Olson's dad. He's the head coach, and then you got Greg Olson, who's basically the head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams. Then you got Luke Kuechly, who is obviously the defensive coordinator, the guru of the defense. And then myself, the running backs coach and DB coach. Yeah, I coach the DBs, man. Got
Okay.
good feet.
Yeah, you're a fast guy. You ran track.
Yeah, ran track. I know how to
Ran a little
cover
track at
somebody.
Oregon.
And so it was cool, man. They, like, Luke's been hounding me like, hey, man, you could come coach, man. Come help us out. I'm like, man, I don't know. I got 2 daughters, man. They don't play football. So like, it's like, you know, and trying to figure out like how does that work if I did want to do that. You know, like Kaya plays soccer. She does gymnastics. She's into cheer and all that kind of stuff. So wanting to be present for all of those things, right? And so we're finding that balance. This is my first year coaching, and I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love it because I'm with the guys. And I think ultimately, like when we talk about golf, and we talk about like, you know, why we do certain things, and like you do this job because you're with the fellas.
It's a locker room atmosphere.
Yeah, like I get to be myself. Yep. I can still continue to grow amongst men.
And that competition.
Get the competition.
Yep.
And iron sharpens iron. And just being able to like, you know, relate. Find somebody that you can relate to on your daily life, the struggles, whatever it is. That's what I love about it. And coaching with those guys just makes me, every day it just makes me realize how blessed I am in the sense of what I've gotten to do, what I've gotten to achieve in life, you know, and just where God has me.
That's exactly why we got this show right here.
Yeah.
For that same reason.
Yeah,
I think it's when you get out of a sport you love to play for so long, you grew up playing football all your life, you have that locker room atmosphere, and that is such a sacred place when you get in the locker room with the fellas.
Yeah.
You grow a lot.
Yeah, you grow a lot, you
yourself.
learn a lot, and it's a bunch of guys from different backgrounds, different areas, and it doesn't matter about your differences because everybody comes together, and they're all going for one goal.
Yeah.
And you find your best friends in there, you joke, you clown each other. I mean, you see some crazy stuff in the locker rooms, as we all know. So
Yeah, man.
Any memorable locker room experiences at any level, Oregon?
that you can
Panther.
say on the show.
The best one.
Hey, or not.
Yeah.
Let it out.
But yeah, let it out. If you want to say it, say it.
Locker room experiences. Man,
I got so many.
there's a lot. Like having to like go through the
funniest. I'm gonna narrow it down for you.
funniest.
This way it can be aired.
Yeah.
It depends on what the
I'll
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's stuff that
I won't go. I won't go with the funniest because it's still. I don't want to air out things.
The funniest, I'm sure he got stories about that.
But I'll tell you something
Or the
about
most
Steve.
inspiring.
I'll tell you something about Steve Smith. Saturdays, you know, we'd send the rookies, the rookie O-linemen to go get donuts, Dunkin' Donuts, Krispy Kremes, whatever it is that we trying to think what we want that day, right? And so Saturday mornings, everybody eating a donut. And Steve Smith would always find an opportunity to knock a donut out of someone's hand. And it's not just when you've got the full donut. It's that last bite.
The last bite is
The one you've been working for, working around.
So like,
Well, you gonna
so
save it.
every Saturday, bro, I was like, man,
Waiting on it.
you just like waiting on it. Like, let me hurry up and eat my donut. Like, oh, I want another donut. And you get to the last bite, you like, where's Steve at?
That man had y'all in the locker room. Right?
Hurry up and eat it.
But those, so like, that's just an example of like what the locker room culture is, and the things that you miss about it is anticipating, you know, who people are, right? Like Steve was like goofy as all get out and just playful, and when he gets on that field, it's, you know, it's
He a
game
dog.
time,
He
and
a
that's
dog.
basically every single person in that locker room. And when you get guys that are in and out, you know, for a season or a couple seasons, you miss that. You know what I'm saying? And you know, when he went to Baltimore, like I was like, dang,
Shout out Baltimore.
we gonna miss that part of the chemistry, that part of what makes us us. And you know, I credit the Super Bowl season to a lot of guys like that brought something, brought the energy, brought their personality to the team that made us who we were. Like Fozzie Whitaker, he can turn, you know, mud into, you know, like a mansion. You know what I'm saying? Like just that like you take a bad day and you can just twist it and turn it and make everything okay. His thing was, hey, baby, let's find that island, right? He'd take a cup and pour cranberry and orange juice on it, or orange juice in it, and you make a tropical drink. And he put a little umbrella in there, and he'd be sitting in the cafeteria,
That's dope.
like, hey, find your island, fellas.
Dope.
I know we lost yesterday, but it's gonna be all right.
It's one thing to say it, but to give that visual.
Yeah, like find the island, and like so having like just guys that have their own nuggets that you are living every single day is what you really miss about the game. And I'll say this, like the Super Bowl year, very disappointing year, man. But I'll like the results never really tell you the full truth. And I think that we are so, like, we live in this day and age of instant gratification. Yeah. Like, oh, I want it now. I want the results now. Give me the results. I just want to know the answer. But as I've been able to sit back and still haven't really watched a full game of the Super Bowl yet, but like sitting back and finding the gratitude of that experience, it's not about the result. It's about the journey. It's about the experiences. It's about that locker room fellowship. It's about, the guys. It's about the families. It's about, who I am today and what all of that means. Because if we don't take the time to learn from things that went wrong and, celebrate the wins, then we'll end up missing out on our true blessing, and I think part of the blessings is the people that are in your life today being able to be the best version of yourself, right? And you can't do that if you're not aware of the good things that have happened in your life.
Right.
And so
speaking on that, you've talked a lot about your journey, mentors in your life, people who've shaped your life, God and everything, and we got us three, we're all fathers. Me and Darrell, pretty new at fatherhood.
Yeah.
Hicks has 2 daughters. Jordan, say he's an aspiring father one day.
yeah.
And you have 2 beautiful daughters. And so how has all this shaped your life for fatherhood? And what does fatherhood mean to you?
Fatherhood is my why. And I think
Drop the jack on that.
Yes, sir.
We show love and drop the jack when it's
That's a big moment right there, Steve.
yeah.
That's a big moment.
You try to get my
You
shoes.
can keep those shoes now.
Yeah, you keep the shoes. I
showed
got
you
the
love.
jack. The jack stack. Okay. No, but I think God gives you what you need too. He knew I needed 2 daughters. Playing football, growing up the way I grew up, single parent household, military dad, I needed 2 daughters.
Why you think you needed 2 daughters?
Learning how to be vulnerable, right? Yeah. Learning how to communicate, sympathy, right? Empathize with people.
Empathy
right?
is such a big
Empathy
one.
is one of the things that I struggle with because, like, something wrong. If there's something wrong, you fix it. And if you can't fix it, you get over it.
Yeah.
And because if you don't get over it, you're gonna be stuck where you are, and you're gonna miss out, right? That's kind of my mentality. Control the things you can control, and then you gotta have the self-awareness to know what you can control, right? And if I know, hey, there's nothing I can do about that, let's move on. Right.
You control yourself, really.
Right.
At the end of the day, your responses.
And so finding that balance of who I am and who God wants me to be for my daughters is that thing that I'm working through every single day. Because if it was just me, I can operate that way. But now I got 2 daughters and a wife. Can't operate that way all the time. And so I appreciate how, what I've gone through and who I am. But I'm very much so aware of the fact that there are things that I don't know and that I need to learn. And my daughters and my wife teach me that every day.
I talked about on a episode one time about when my first one was born, like that feeling. It was it's like just a game changer.
It's a game changer, bro. Like, I didn't know what to expect.
Everything that mattered before that is just like
Yeah.
That didn't matter.
Like we were talking a little bit earlier about shoes, right? I went to University of Oregon, University of Nike, right?
Phil Knight.
I had like my mindset changed when I had kids and started traveling. I'm like, man, why am I gonna pack all my stuff, all my luggage, just to go on this trip? When it's really only thing that's gonna matter on this trip is keeping this baby happy. Because if we keep the baby happy, everybody gonna be happy.
Life's easy.
So I'm not trying to carry my luggage full of stuff. Sometimes you gotta unpack that.
Gosh, that's
right.
true.
You gotta.
I need that lesson.
So you gotta. So the luggage though, talk about it, right? We all carry luggage
Right.
that we gotta let go.
That's a very good analogy.
And so if we holding on to
That's the truth.
the stuff that we used to be, the stuff that we are,
Hey, another one.
I mean, this is,
God.
like we gotta let those things go to be who we need to be. We can't be the guy that's we can do whatever you want to do, but I know for myself, these shoes are gonna be a problem. They're gonna be a burden.
Yeah.
All the stuff in my luggage, in this luggage, I can put. If I empty my luggage out, the stuff that I don't need, I can actually put my daughter's stuff in there. I can put my wife's stuff in there. I can put my 3-year-old daughter stuff in there. Now I can carry my luggage comfortably, right?
And that's funny. I can relate to that because my oldest races go-karts.
Yeah,
And I had a pretty hefty Jordan collection.
yeah.
And I went to my wife. I'm like, hey, I need to buy a second go-kart, right? I need to have a backup car. She's like, we are not buying another damn go-kart. Have you lost your mind? So I'm sitting back and I'm like, you know what? I could sell some of them shoes, and I'll buy another go-kart. So I had somebody come in, sold a lot of my Jordans, and I went right and bought another damn go-kart.
I'm telling you, man. Like if you
It's crazy how that
end
works.
up doing self-inventory, going back to self-evaluation, right? Like part of inventory is evaluation. Like where am I at? Do I need these things in my life? Do I need these people in my life? And it's something that was a struggle for me, to be honest. And because playing in the league, like certain friends and a lot of things that change when you are a family man. Like you can't be doing the things that you used to do. You can't. It's not all about you. Like when you get up in the morning, you are walking on the ground for your kids because they need you.
Not only that, you got to surround yourself with likely-minded people, like people that are married.
Yeah.
Like, because your wife's like, what you doing with that young single guy? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
What are you going out with him for?
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
Stuff that
so
you-
things do change, man. And
Yeah.
I got a funny story. You talk about packing the luggage, man. Like, and you can't forget things for the youngins. I'm talking about down to that stuffed animal that
Oh,
you
yeah.
know if you forget,
Pass-
it'll
yeah,
ruin
it's
your
over.
whole trip
Pacifier.
to
Yeah,
pacify
pass
it,
it,
bro.
man.
Like, because kids get attached to like one thing. My son got this bunny where if you leave it, you in trouble. I mean, we ordered every bunny that we could find.
They're like cigarette addicts with this stuff. It's that's their advice. Like my daughter with her passy, if she doesn't have it, she's like, and sorry, Mel, but we're gonna get her off it soon. But yeah, she's still.
Well,
on
so
passy
our
right now.
our 3-year-old just got off her passy, and it's true. Their world is so small. Their world is just mommy, daddy, and whoever mommy and daddy lets into their lives.
They're so innocent.
They're basically waiting every day to hang out with mommy and daddy. And they want to just be comfortable and feel, safe, right? And sometimes that pacifier is the thing that they need to feel safe. Because that's all they know. And it's so hard to rip that apart from them. The teddy bear, blanket, whatever it is, because it's all they know. And for us, we're like, man, there's all kind of stuff that can make you happy. Because we know way more than them. We experience way more than them. So like, one of the things that I'm really working on is like entering their world. Like being legitimately in their world for at least like 15 minutes. Because for us, we go through a day and we have someone enter our world and just really like engage in like where we are. We're like, wow.
That can change. That changes your whole mindset.
That feels really good. I
It
felt
means
like
a lot to us, too,
Yeah.
even as adults.
Yeah, so like for a child, it's like, man, just 15 minutes of just like, hey, how was your day?
playing with
What?
him.
You
Playing with him.
tea
like,
time.
Yeah, tea party. I had tea parties with Bella, and man, I sit at her little table and like on her little chair, and she's pouring me the cup,
Yep.
and giving me the fake food, and
Yep. Like you're
she's
eating
shoving it in my
I
mouth.
love that
Swallow it.
I
So
can't wait to
good.
do that with my kids.
It's
You know,
awesome.
like play the little games with them and stuff like that.
And you'd be surprised when you take yourself to their world how much you enjoy it.
Yeah.
How much you let go of whatever you've been thinking about in your busy world.
Everything just slows down. Like,
Kids just make
life
you
just slows
be
down.
present. They bring you back to the present moment of when you used to have that feeling of just
So
being
innocent.
free and innocent and just, you know,
Like,
good
bro,
vibration.
last night, me and my daughters are watching Little Mermaid for the 100th time.
Thousands. Don't bluff.
Yeah,
1,000.
You're a fan of it too.
I love it though.
Yeah,
I
you love
Disney
it now.
movies. I love Disney movies, man. All the cartoons, all the movies. But I asked her, I was like, "Hey, what do you think about, Ariel?" She's like, "I love Ariel." I was like, "Oh, do you? Do you love Ariel more, or do you love Ursula?" She's like, "Oh, I feel bad for Ursula." I'm like, "Oh, why? Why do you feel bad for Ursula?" She's like, "She's sad." I'm like, "You see sadness in the bad Ursula?" She's like, "Yeah, she's all alone."
Wow.
I'm like,
She
wow.
see that stuff.
That's crazy.
And so we're like, so I'm entering her world. I'm like, dang, I'm looking at this from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Like, Ursula, man, she's sad. I feel bad for you too now.
Right.
Like, hurt people.
Yeah.
That's what she's really saying. And she feels bad for her.
Yeah.
And so, like, you really tap into these kids, man. You really start to, validate what they are experiencing. And so I had an opportunity last night to validate whatever she was thinking. I was able to say, yeah, Nora, you're right. She is sad. And so now she's going to be able to watch these movies and be able to connect on a whole different, emotional, intelligent level. Like, emotional intelligence these days, boy.
I mean, yeah, I've watched that movie 10 times, and I wasn't
I
gonna
just
say she was
thought
sad.
Ursula was just
I was
this
like,
mean
yeah.
witch.
I was like, now I'm gonna have to go back and watch
Yeah,
it
man,
again.
shout out to Nora for putting us on
Yeah.
game.
Love that.
So here on Drop the Jack, we have a moment where we get vulnerable. And I feel like we've done that, throughout the show already, but this is a certain segment where we call it gloves off. So the word that we're gonna use today is mulligan. So what you think your mulligan is?
Could be anything in life.
People that don't know, it's like a redo. People that don't
All the
know.
golf
Something
guys.
that
For all
I
the
could,
people that
like,
don't know.
something that I can go back and redo
Yeah.
or relive.
Jordan ain't know what a mulligan was before we started.
Let's,
But
That's exactly why I explained it.
He did a good job
Hey,
explaining it.
that's exactly why I explained
It's
it.
okay.
not a
dog.
golf guy.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm
He
not a golf
explained
guy.
it well.
I know.
Listen, the golf world, look,
It's his own world.
certain people
we
ain't
want you-
experienced golf until we was just in the hands of people that was like, hey, look, I got some money, you trying to go golf? All right, let's do it.
Never thought I would golf in my life. Never thought I would golf in my life.
Like my first time experiencing golf, I had a friend that lived on a golf course, and we was selling golf balls. That was the only time I really had any
is this used golf balls? Like you
used
picked
golf
up?
waterlogged
Yeah,
golf.
yeah.
Yeah. Nike.
Yeah.
Like back in the day when they had Nike balls. But my mulligan,
I know what it is now. Mulligan.
yeah.
I know what it is now.
Okay.
I would have to say, man, I don't think my mindset about life is no mulligans. I don't want any redos. Because as you know, like in football, like you take a rep in practice, you might run the play again, but it ain't gonna be the same. Right? And so
Same with pit stops.
So I feel like as far as like mulligans, I wouldn't redo something for a different outcome. But my mindset is let me just get the right rep, right? I'm all about, like, this season in life, I'm a sponge, right? I'm in this season of, learning and growing and experiencing as much as I can, because I've given so much of myself to football throughout my whole life, and I feel like I have an opportunity to just get hella reps. And when I go off on a tee shot and I blow one out, to the right, and it's out of bounds, my mindset is like, man, I just got to take it. I just got to go drop. Or, you know what I'm saying? Me taking a mulligan, I feel like I'm shorting myself. I'm cheating.
I like this
I'm
guy.
cheating golf.
I like
Finish
this
each
guy.
other's sentences.
It's like it's like
Like I know what he gonna say already.
Yeah,
but I like
man.
this
I told you, man. He remind me of my childhood friend, Jameson. Shout out to Jameson. But so as far as mulligans, if I'm around, like folks that will allow that to exist in my life, I think I have to question them.
They ain't trying to make you better.
Right. And so unless we talking about reps, I'm all about the reps. Yeah, hit another one off the tee. All right. But the first one counts. You know what I'm saying?
You take that breakfast ball.
Yeah. I'll take the break. I'll take
Get every hole, brother.
it. But like to that though, golf is an interesting game. Like I'll take it, but deep down, I'm thinking to myself, if I end up having a good round, am I gonna feel good about that mulligan?
Hell yeah. I'm taking that breakfast ball mulligan every time I go for it.
Hey, I'm gonna take it, but I'm not gonna feel good about it.
for me, Jonathan, I wouldn't. It's similar to your answer. I wouldn't necessarily redo something, but I came across one of my coaches along my career, and at some point, he was able to dictate, make moves, and kind of take my confidence from me. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't necessarily redo that, but I wouldn't allow, my confidence to be taken away because it dragged on for years.
Okay.
It dragged on for years where I couldn't get out of it, man. And still to the day, I use that in my career. Like, I'll never let someone take my confidence. No matter how much I fail, how much adversity I go through, I'm going to be confident about the next rep.
Yeah. I will say this then, to that mulligan. Y'all chopping this up while we talking?
Go, baby.
They'll be chopping it up.
Do what you do.
Good.
All right. So if I'm taking a mulligan, it would be based off of forgiveness.
That's what mine was gonna be.
That's right on par with mine.
That's what I'm
too.
saying.
Make sure y'all exchange numbers after
I
this.
like this guy.
Make sure y'all
Yeah,
exchange
get
numbers,
yours
man.
off, and then I'll relate to
But
that.
That's hard to do. To forgive is
Super hard.
100%.
yeah, and I think like going back to that experience I had in high school, like the prayer that I had was basically forgiveness. Like, God, get this feeling out off my chest. Like, unburden me, right? And, 2 years ago, I reconnected with my dad. And I didn't really understand. Like, I thought to myself, oh, yeah, like, I forgive him. I'm not talking to him. I ain't doing nothing with him. He ain't bothering me. We Gucci, right? And he would reach out, especially once I got drafted here and there, and try to do his best to connect or reconnect. Once I became a father, I started looking at my relationships with my parents a lot different, right? And thinking to myself, like, man, like, my dad was in the military. My mom was working multiple jobs. We're doing the best they could. And especially being black, like in America with 2 boys, doing the best that you can while being married, that can be a struggle, right? And so empathy, right? I started thinking to myself, dang, like, I know I need to reconnect and reconnect on my terms, right? How am I going to do that? I took my daughter with me last year. After about a year of, communicating with my dad, I worked it up to where I was going to go visit my dad on Father's Day. And man, that made me think like, wow, a lot of missed time, a lot of missed opportunities. I've had people in my life like, man, you got to talk to your dad. You got to make that relationship right. I know it hurts, but you got to make it right. And I put it off, and I put it off. But I will say my mulligan would be to forgive sooner rather than later. And forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. It allows you to be free. And what true forgiveness is basically letting the person off the hook of owning up to what they've done wrong to you. So if you spilt milk on me, right, I would say it's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. It's basically saying, I don't need your apology, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you feel bad, but if you offer your apology, that's good. I appreciate that, right? But if you don't, I'm still gonna be able to live on and go on.
You're not gonna let.
I won't forget,
Yeah.
right? I won't forget that you spilled the milk, right? But it's spilled milk.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the day,
It's
right?
gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay.
That's crazy. Like that, that resonates big with me. Like that totally just opened something up in my mind because that's with my dad. I've held on to that same kind of grudge where, he hasn't apologized. Me and my dad don't have the best relationship. We haven't grown up, and we're working on it now. And we're both trying to make it right. But that right there just totally just hit me hard because for so long I've expected this apology and expected him to own up to how he was to us growing up and how he is still to this day. And I shouldn't need that. I don't need that.
Because you are who you are now. You're a great dad, great husband, awesome friend, awesome teammate. Like, you are a guy, right? Your energy is radiant. You know what I'm saying? Like, and God got you to where you are despite the fact. Right? And so imagine where you can be once you just say,
I'm gonna let that go.
I'm gonna let that go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I got a question for that. Do you think, since you've had, your own kids, do you think that made it harder? Because you see how, you should be a parent, and then you look at your dad and go,
How was he able to do
how is he able to do that?
You
Do you
talked
think?
about that.
Yeah. Do you think that made it harder for
Yeah,
you?
I definitely think so because it's like, you grow up and you see these kids with great relationships with their dads and you want that.
Yeah.
And my dad's always been in my life. My parents got divorced and when I was in college. They probably should have been divorced sooner than that. But so I grew up seeing, like I've said on other episodes, seeing stuff I probably shouldn't have seen growing up. And it was hard. And like, everybody wants a relationship with their parents and a good relationship. And now that I have my own kid, it's like you want to right all those wrongs and you try to be completely opposite of what you grew up seeing. And you think about that stuff and it's just like you ask yourself, why was he like that? Why was it like that? And
How is it even possible?
yeah, how is it
possible?
How is it even
Yes.
possible?
Like, what was you thinking about?
Exactly.
But I'll tell you this. The last 2 years of opening that line of communication up with my pops has been huge.
You feel like it's weight off your shoulders?
Man, like, being able to just ask him questions like, yo, like, that one time you and mom got in a fight, what was that about?
Yeah.
Why were you this way? Like, how do you tick? Because we are who our parents are, basically, right? So
We learn
like,
a lot.
I know who my mom is, but like understanding who my pops is allows me to again self-evaluate. It helps me become better by taking notes. Well, my dad's kind of like this, and I still have that trait. Maybe I should really
understand it,
I should really work on getting rid of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Jonathan, it says a lot about you, and as I've grown, as I've came closer to faith, I've always said, a God-fearing man and a man with his pride aside or ego aside is a bad man.
Yeah.
And it seems like you figured that out, which pushed you to being able to forgive.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Paul has, that kind of has helped you out. And sometimes it's ego, When we have kids,
definitely
it gets
ego.
harder.
I still have an ego.
You know what I mean?
About certain things in my life.
Yeah.
But it's almost kind of like God will give you what you need when you need it the most, right? And like Paul, like I know for when you're ready, like you have the tools and you'll know when you want to have that conversation.
Right.
That conversation does need to be had, right? And I think it's really working up the courage, right? Because I think when we don't want to do something like that, when we don't want to open up the floodgates of a communication line to talk about certain things, it's because we're protecting ourselves.
So emotional.
That person,
Yeah.
if that person hurt you one time on a different level, it could have been physical, could have been all kind of stuff, right? You don't want to open that back up,
That wound.
that wound, because we are, as men, we are so good at putting things on the back burner. We're so good at compartmentalizing. If we don't compartmentalize, we ain't gonna put food on the table. We're gonna be stuck, right? Like you asked me to be emotional, you asked me to be vulnerable, you asked me to be a dog, you asked me to be, the weapon of the house. So like, it's a lot. And so when we have our own little like feelings and emotions that we're experiencing, we're like, nah, we got to put that on the back burner right quick. Cause
You
I
got
got
stuff
this.
to do.
This right here is monumental.
I also think, too, it's that fear if you put yourself out there, and then
You ain't gonna like what you get back.
what if he's like,
Yeah. I don't care.
I don't care.
Bro, it's like that.
And
It's like that
that's-
scene from Will Smith, dog,
Yeah,
from
that's-
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Bro, like I can legitimately cry every time I watch that scene when his pops comes to visit him.
Yeah, I know exactly.
His biological father comes to visit him, and he's all happy and he's excited. And he's like, "Yeah, man, my relationship with my dad's about to get on track, and we about to go hit the road. We gonna just like spark it up like it should have been, right?" And that fear, that's our dream. That's your dream. You still want that. It's just gonna look different. And we don't really know what that really looks like. That's what we're afraid of because
It'd be hard to
it could take a little bit of time. It takes time. It doesn't just happen overnight. And when you have your pops come in, you're scared of that feeling of him departing again and telling you, nah, I can't, I'm not cut out for this. I can't do this. I can't do it I can't do this your way. I can't show up for you the way you want me to show up for you, right? Because that's what true love is. True love is just being there for somebody.
There's a lot of pressure on the fellas, and that's why we started this once again, man. But some ways we get rid of that pressure, and that weight is getting out on the golf course, So
Always swinging some sticks with the
Hicks,
boys.
I know you don't golf much lately, but what would be, your mulligan in life?
I would have to say, I don't know if I really have like a mulligan. Everything I've done has put me where I am today, but I wish I just slowed down life and just enjoyed it more. I'm one of those guys that's like 100 mile an hour all the time. Got to go, 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 go. I just wish that even to this day, like right now, I wish I could just like slow life down and just enjoy it, and and get to just slow down, right?
present.
Be present.
Enjoy the little things.
Yeah, and just enjoy life more. I think that would be mine.
Oh, Chupa.
I feel like I kind of just answer with the
Yeah,
forgiveness
just
thing. I
forgive.
think the forgiveness thing is
I can
huge.
just back off of that.
Yeah.
And it's the same trend that we're going with so far with talking about our fathers. So my mom, she passed away when I was 5. So I only been raised by my father for the most part. And when I got older, I started figuring out that it was like money that my mom left behind that was given to my dad. And it was like how I grew up, it was like, where the money went? Where was the money at? Because it's not like it was being seen like, I didn't have the freshest Jordans, or I didn't have like a lot of things that I wanted to have as a kid. And I was probably still spoiled, but this is just from my perspective as a kid, right? Being his only son, I still did get stuff that I got because I'm the only son. But I just, when I figured out how much money was left over, I'm like, why you didn't like give us allowances and stuff like that? And
Where's all my money?
Yeah, like where's the money that you were supposed to give it to me, or where's the money why didn't we get to spend it? Why you didn't just give it to us when we asked for it, when we got, like maybe 15, 16 when we wanted stuff on our own? Like where was that money at? And like me and him got into a real heated argument about that, and we didn't talk for months, and that's my only parent I got. And he really saved my life with moving me from Buffalo, because that's what changed everything. That's what saved me, and I always credit that to him, because if it wasn't for me moving from Buffalo, I don't even know if I would still be here to even, you know what I'm saying, engage with y'all like this. But it was just different times. It probably was another time where we didn't talk, because I was basically in his business. He was, having relationships with people, and I was kind of getting in the middle of it, trying to protect him. But I think I kind of like messed it up even more than what I thought I was doing at the time. I'm like, this is my pops, I'm protecting him. But I think I just made the situation worse, and we didn't talk for a long time after that. So I just think that me judging him from the eyes of being his son and being like, if I was in his shoes, I would do this, that was just wrong of me. And I forgave him, and I think that was hard for me to do, just to be like, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna cleanse myself of feeling this way towards you, so then you can be free and be who you are, and I can stop having this feeling towards you that I have of judging you. But he was doing the best that he could do at that time.
He was protecting you.
He was protecting me. I don't know what he was doing through it. And they say you can only meet a person as far as they met themselves. My dad probably didn't even know, how to handle that type of money, that position. The mother of his child has passed, and now he has his money. He don't really know what to do. I can expect him to know what to do in that situation, what to do with the money. But he probably did everything he could do with the money. I never was, didn't have stuff I needed, but it was the stuff I wanted that I said I didn't get. And that's like, who am I to say, oh, you should have gave me the money? Why you didn't pay me? Why you didn't give us this or give us that? And why you don't handle a situation like how I would have handled it? But I'm not in his shoes, and I'm not him.
There's a difference between needs and wants.
Exactly. And I was just being like just a kid from my perspective. Like, I could have used that money when I was eating oodles and noodles every day. Where was that money at?
Chicken or the beef?
When I'm eating Hot Pockets every day, where was the money at? Eating cereal at 8 o'clock at night, where was the money at? So it was like when those moments come, that's people like cereal just like throughout the day, but I just thought it was different things that I'm like, where was the money at then? And it's like, I just felt wrong for judging him that way, because he saved my life. And I shouldn't have no questions about how he raised me, because he raised me to be the man that I am. And I appreciate him for that, but I was just picking that category to just like have a problem with him about, when it's like, he always been a righteous man. He always took care of me. He always showed me the good examples. Even when I wanted to do knucklehead stuff, my dad was always the one that showed me the right way. So I think it was just wrong of me to accuse him of not doing right with the money or not treating us right, but he really saved my life, and I forgave him for that, and I hope he forgave me for even like taking that stance, like questioning his father ability, when it's like he been a great father to me and my siblings. So that was another thing that I just wanted to, on the forgiveness piece, like if I could mulligan, I would just forgive him and be more understanding, because I just look back and I'm like, that was just wrong of me to, just from my ego, being like, you should did this, because I would have did this. He's him and I'm me.
Man, as soon as I think this show is at its peak, it never ceases to amaze me just how these conversations may go, man. We talked about so much today, but one thing, I'm going to say to the audience is, don't be afraid to forgive. Jonathan, appreciate you for, shining that light on that area of like, it's okay, and at the end of the day, it's for you.
Yeah.
So another show, man. Thank you for stopping by, Jonathan. We really appreciate you opening up with us, man.
Yeah, man.
Getting vulnerable, and hopefully we can get out on the golf course one day together. All
we
of the
definitely
guys.
going golfing. 15 handicap. I don't care what y'all.
Well, y'all know where to find us: YouTube, NASCAR.com, and anywhere that you get your podcast from. Drop the jack, baby.